You're happy to be the #1 on the dockets. Coach, talk to me about your key indicators for assessing Team USA throughout the VNL.
You want us to touch this, or what do we do here?
That's a great technical question. How do the bikes work?
Go without. Key indicators. This is a really exciting year for, I think, all the teams because it's the start of a new Olympic cycle. And so you have a blend of wonderful elite performance, skill, and experience. Somebody like Eric Shoji, our captain for week 2 in VNL, and some people who've never played VNL in their whole career. And it's the first of probably many. And that applies not just to our USA team, but I think every team that's playing in VNL. All 18 teams are learning, and the players are learning, the coaches are learning, and there's a great mix of experience and youth, and lots for fans to follow and to think about how that will lead up to the Olympics 3 years and some months from now.
Awesome. Can you talk to me about anyone on the roster that surprised you with growth, maturity, or ability to compete at this level from your young group?
I don't know if we can make any judgments just on a match or two. That's probably too small of a data set, but we had several people playing in week 1 who, again, just dove into the deep end of the pool, and that's what we want to do, throw people in the deep end and see how they swim. And see how they handle the rigors of competing against the very best in the world. For them, probably their first time doing so.
And finally, obviously made the jump back to men's volleyball. What's the biggest difference and maybe even the biggest challenge coaching the men's team versus the women's team?
I'm extremely honored and privileged to be able to work with this group, to work with people like Eric next to me, who've been doing it at such a high level for such a long time. And it's been also a privilege just to see the elite skills and sophistication with which the men play volleyball, and it's an honor to be a part of that.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Coach, a couple questions for you. One is, you already explained about what you're working with the younger players on this VNL, and developing and being mentored by the older players. Do you think later on in the year in the World Championships will we see more of the experienced players coming into the roster, or do you think you can continue with the younger crowd?
Well, we had a wonderful surprise visit yesterday from Matt Anderson, who drove up with his 2 darling children, and his wife's expecting a third. And so we will get to see some of the veterans who are keeping the door open to play more. But there are a number of guys who will not play, including Matt, in World Championships. And then we'll plan for 2026. So most of our group that will be playing later in the year is with us in this VNL period right now, and we're excited to, as Eric said, to work through the challenges of people who have just met each other a couple of weeks ago, and now how can we put it together on the court with the best communication possible.
My last question for you is, I'm pretty sure I've seen your pink hat on the beaches in Chicago, but have you ever played or coached indoor volleyball in Chicago with the crowds?
The men have played here a lot. I did a lot of my coaching with the women and tended to go to other parts of the country like Texas and Nebraska. So really honored to be here. I've heard it's a wonderful venue, especially when we're playing teams like Poland and Italy, and the great crowd passion that's going to be there. Partly for Poland, maybe a lot for Poland, and that's all right. My favorite matches, we were down in Brazil for week 1, and especially our young guys. When we would come to the gym before our warm-up would start, and often Brazil was playing just before, and the energy was incredible there. Those are my favorite places to play and to coach, is when the crowd is incredibly passionate, especially for the home team, cheering against a team like USA, and those are really fun moments to give them a little more to boo.
This one is also for Karch. You kind of look at some of these young guys and you mentor them. Do you see maybe in any of them something that reminds you of yourself when you were a player, and then something fundamentally or technically that you kind of mentor them on?
I think it's a different game that's being played in these 2020s now than when I was playing with the U.S. team in the 1980s, early 90s, and a game of power and a game of sophistication on a level that's far above what existed when I played. In terms of the volleyball IQ of attackers, for example, how often they can get the ball, keep the ball on their side of the net, and so that they can have their swing and another swing and another swing until they get the right swing to make the kill. So I don't really compare myself except to other players, except that I do admire all-around ability, and we need players in all 5 positions to be able to execute multiple skills really well. So Eric is a great example of somebody who is not only a world-class, one of the best receivers of serve in the world, but he needs to be a great communicator, great defender, great setter, all the parts of the game that he can execute. And so we admire that, and we need that from all 5 of our positions.
Karch, anything to add about kind of the identity of this young American team?
I think we'll still be finding that for sure with so many new faces, and but I agree with Eric that the moment rarely got too big for our guys, even for the people who had never played on that stage before. And as the week went on, even though there were plenty of ugly plays and plays that need to be better, we competed hard throughout and battled hard, and that's a really important part of any American team.
Daniel Bociąga, Polish Radio. Coach, you mentioned fans' passion. You're playing in Chicago. I know last time around the team US played Poland. The crowd was kind of hostile to the US team, and pretty much this time around, the game Poland-US sold out like right away. Are you preparing your team to play against, to not having that home court advantage this time around too?
We will for sure not have a home court advantage, and that's all right. It would probably be more hostile here than if we were playing in Gdansk or Łódź. So, fine, bring it on. Those are the whether it's a loud home crowd for you or a loud crowd that is cheering against you. I think every guy at this table would say those are the most fun matches, the most energy, the most noise, the most passion.
Coach, what are the main differences you've noticed between the women's game and the men's game switching over this year?
I think I mentioned it before, just the level of sophistication in terms of block schemes, defensive schemes. In men's volleyball, there are always, with a good reception, there are always 4 very strong threats to make a kill for their team and make a point. And that doesn't exist as much in women's volleyball, to have 4 very serious threats. So 4 threats against 3 blockers, they're always outnumbered, so there have to be a number of sophisticated systems in order to respond to that and try to slow down the really potent offenses. So that would be one example, and another is just how critical it is to have, and I think we heard it from China too, just how critical it is to be in the right defensive positions for when the ball gets past the block, which is regularly in men's volleyball with the power of the game.
Coach, I don't know if he's playing this week or not, but Jeff Jendrick, I don't know if he's playing this week or not, but what do you see in him as a player?
He is playing, and he was a beast about a week and a half ago against Cuba. It was really fun to watch him patrolling the net and getting in hitters' way, and he's had a wonderful career with USA, especially playing a big role in helping our men's team qualify for the Paris Olympics in the 2023 Olympic qualifier, and also in the Olympics themselves. It just so happened that a couple of medals for USA, Max Holt and Taylor Averill, played superb Olympic tournaments themselves. So Jeff was not needed much in that, but he was ready to go, and he's ready to go now to lead as the most experienced, the most veteran middle that we have on our VNL roster. And he showed it against Cuba, so we're excited to have him do plenty more of that. Eric talked about these opportunities for leadership. I'm really excited for Eric to take advantage of these and mentor guys who've had very little experience with VNL. Jeff has that same opportunity for the whole team, but also in the middle position itself.
And outside of his experience, what's his biggest strength?
I have a lot more to learn about all these guys, but he surprised me with his level of defense for a middle. That's not always something that they bring to the equation. And about his kind of level-headed play. He's a really consistent player, and brought a great intensity against Cuba, and so I'm excited to see him bring that all through this week and beyond.
And for Coach, if someone could describe Team USA volleyball program, the brand of volleyball, the identity of it, how would they describe it in a way that you would be most proud of?
Ferocious competitors, and dedicated, fanatical teammateship.
For Coach Karai, I think something that you used to do when you were coaching the women that I believe you did as well for the men shortly after you got the job is during the players all dispersed around the world for their club seasons, you kind of took a global round trip to see some guys play, get to talk to them, get to meet them, get to understand who they are. Can you tell us more about that trip and like what your goals were when meeting or seeing each player along the way?
For the most part, it was just to spend time to get to know guys. Often we wouldn't even talk about volleyball, but so I was in Paris, France, and Saint-Nazaire, and Nice, France, and Bologna, and Trento, and Milano, and Berlin, and Katowice, and Ankara, Turkey, and Tokyo, Hiroshima, Nagoya, Osaka. Got to visit like 20-some guys, and it was fantastic. Get to watch a match, practice, but just grab a meal. Got to grab a meal with Eric and David Smith, and actually it was easy in Poland because there's so many guys within a quick drive, all playing there in that fantastic Plus Liga. But it was a wonderful opportunity to make connections and start to build as we dive into this. Started to think about this year of 2025.
And then as a former outside hitter yourself, all 4 Olympian men's outside hitters for the United States not playing this VNL, whether retired, taking a well-deserved break, whatever it is, what would you say are the emphases on improvement and technical ability for the game at this level from that position group?
There's a huge challenge on our younger group of outsides to be consistent players, to be the best receivers of serve that they can. Having somebody like Eric next to them has got to be comforting for them, and having his help taking a little extra space so they don't have to take so much. But really, the demands of the game are that they have to become in a very quick manner, make the jump, let's say, from college level thinking to elite international level thinking. And that is a quantum leap in terms of how to play the game smart and do things that help your team win the next point.
And then maybe for both American representatives, can you talk a little bit about the opportunity that American volleyball and that American men's volleyball has this week to play at home and put on a great show as we continue to help grow the sport in our country?
We love to travel anywhere on the planet to play great competition. I think of competition as like a dance, and it's when 2 people or 2 dance partners are working together, it's best when they're both really skilled at what they do. So great competition is when both teams across the net are challenging each other, bringing out the best in each other. We'll go any place on the planet to do that, and we love to do it here in the USA. So this is a real honor and privilege to be able to play in our home country in a great city like Chicago.
Coach, with some of the changes going on in the NCAA level, with NIL and universities trying to decide whether to continue programs, seems like some men's volleyball programs may be at risk, or et cetera. Do you see if that could generate some impact in the future pipeline of athletes for the national team?
That's a big and looming question for sure. I think we saw an example with Eric's very special university, Stanford, that decided to cancel the men's program, and in a very quick matter of days or weeks, alumni, donors, everybody came to the rescue and resurrected that program, and it was awesome and well needed. And so I'm sure Eric played an important role. He can comment on that in a second, but I think that's going to be part of the solution. Is there are a lot of big supporters in volleyball throughout our country, some of whom are of quite well-off means, have made great successes of themselves in their various business endeavors, and so I think that's going to be a part of the solution going forward at the collegiate level.
All right, starting with Karch. If you could put the knee pads on for one of these games this week, which one would it be?
First of all, I didn't play with knee pads.
But maybe you will now. I don't know.
Kick that.
No, I don't want to be on the court anywhere near those serves. I will leave that to Eric.
Okay.